All right, go ahead. So everybody, welcome to our December edition. We're gonna actually get started by our boxes. So please start by painting the inside first, and then do your outside. So that the inside will hopefully be dry by the time we finish painting the outside. If that makes sense.
But I have a question. For the inside of the box, will any of that paint be seen? Like, does it matter what it looks like?
It'll be seen, but it won't be seen that much. You know how there's tiles on the floor or tiles in the bathroom or whatever, and you can see like in between the tiles, you see grout.
Okay.
The paint is gonna basically look like grout in between tiles.
Okay.
So it doesn't. I mean, it doesn't have to be pretty. Just get a nice coat on there. And the sample. I don't remember if it was Miss Nancy or if it was Erica, but somebody brought this idea to the group, and the sample picture that we had was white. So that's why I had recommended white, but you can really do it any color you want. But I know that most of you received white and black paint at a previous project, and you should have a bunch left over. So
I'm almost done.
Want to start cutting up your 3D literally so cutting though there's not a specific way. You just want to cut them up into smaller pieces, because what we're going to end up doing is I wouldn't cut all three of them. That's a tip from when I did the practice one. Cut up two of them and then save the third one, because you might need a specific shape at some point. So you want to save a piece in case you need a specific shape. So save a piece that's not cut in case you need to create a specific shape to make your mosaic work in the end. But for right now, maybe take two of them and start cutting them up into smaller pieces. The smaller you make the pieces, obviously the more you'll need. If you want to make them larger, that's fine. This won't take long at all. But start cutting them so that you have something to work with. So, I sent everybody a bottle of Mod Podge. You definitely aren't going to use this whole thing, so you have some Mod Podge for your future crafting. But I sent this because what they did was they put a little bit of Mod Podge in the bottom of their tray, and then they stuck their pieces down into the Mod Podge. FYI. So when I'm just starting to cut now, but if you are ahead of the game, I would maybe what I would do is I would probably just put a little bit of my side down and just work section by section. I probably wouldn't cover the whole thing because it'll dry by the time you get to it. So put a little bit down on one part, put some pieces in there, and while it's wet, you should be able to move pieces and all of that stuff. Or if you want to, you can put up your pieces in first so that you can see where you want them to go, and then you can just pick them up and put a little Mod Podge under. So one thing about resin is that it does get super sticky, and if it gets on your hands and then you like cut something, it'll be super sticky. So everybody should have some gloves in their box. So if you wouldn't mind going ahead and putting those gloves on, if you're ready. If you're not ready for the resin, then you just keep doing what you're doing, and we'll get there. All right, so everybody should put on their gloves. I put on the tops of the bottles A and B. that was just so that you knew that they were different or whatever. The thing about resin is that in order for it to work and for it to cure properly, it has to be equal parts of A and equal parts of B. So these are not measured in these bottles. So you're going to have to use that cup to measure it. So we want to get at least 60 milliliters, right? At least. If you want to do a little bit more, you can, but you definitely are going to need at least 60 to fill the bottom of this whole tray. So if you have 100, you have a cup that goes up to 100. What you're going to do is carefully pour in like 30 of A and then 30 of B. But you want to try to make it even as possible. So definitely use your measuring cup and take your time. If you have 2 cups, then what I would suggest is maybe doing 15 in one cup and 15 and 15 in the other, because you're not going to be able to get to the 60 with one of these small cups.
So, when you're saying, because I mean, if you take it like right underneath the brim, it actually would go up to 60.
Technically, but it has to be exact. So like if it's too much of one versus the other, it won't get hard. It'll stay soft, it'll stay sticky. So like it has to be exact. So once you get half and half of both of them, you actually then have to stir it for like 2 minutes. Stir for 2 minutes. After you stir for 2 minutes, then you literally just pour it in your tray and it'll level itself out. The only other thing about resin that I could share with y'all is after you let it sit for like 10 minutes, if you see that you have a lot of bubbles on the surface, this is completely optional. I'm going to be clear about that. Some people will take a lighter and go over the top of their resin to pop the bubble. It does work. The resin will not catch on fire, but that is completely optional. If you feel like you have a lot of bubbles and you want them gone, that's how you do it. You just run a lighter over the top.